Queridos amigos, todas las cosas vienen marcadas en la profecía de los mayas eternos. Los del centro nos hacen unir el águila del norte con el cóndor del sur.
You know, Costa Rica is a really, really special place. It doesn't exist, like probably nowhere on earth. Because the energy of the land has so much potential. The Bitcoin Jungle Project was kind of birthed November 2020. But prior to that, around 6 or 7 months before, I was doing a lot of ayahuasca medicine. If you don't know that, it's like an indigenous medicine that's been around for millennia. Having these experiences where my experiences on ayahuasca were never about me. They were always about the jungle and the forest and this place. And I became really, really intrigued by this. And then I hear about this hummingbird tribe, this idea that a new type of person will inhabit the earth in the future, like a new tribe of people that would come to Costa Rica, this hummingbird tribe. This prophecy is something like this.
More than 500 years ago, before the predestined arrival of other members of the human family, there flourished vast civilizations that carried trade and commerce from the very north of the Americas to the very south of the Americas and across the Rockies and the Andes. This was the union of the Condor and Eagle.
The eagle represents the north.
The eagle, from some perspectives, can also represent the mind.
It's an energy that discovers and invents and makes things happen. And the condor represents indigenous people from the south. You know, it's more mellow, softer energy. There's a lot of heart, a lot of connection with the earth.
In all the sacred prophecies, from the prophecies of Kukulkan, the prophecies of the Incas, Viracocha, Quetzalcoatl, the Eighth Council Fire, Return of the White Buffalo, the sacred prophecy of the Hopi, all the sacred prophecies foretold that a great spiritual wintertime was coming. And as prophesied, our relatives came to these sacred lands. This was the time in which the union of the Condor and Eagle was shattered. But it was also promised that after a period of 500 years, that a great, great spiritual springtime would emerge with such power and such intensity that all that had been covered in the cold, bitter snow would be revealed and cleansed and purified, and that we would emerge galvanized, reunited as not only a reunion of the Condor and Eagle, but a reunion of the entire human family. This time is now.
Todo bien. Buena vida, Costa Rica.
This is the Eco Feria in Dominical, Costa Rica. It's a local organic farmers market. Matt and I started this documentary thinking we'd make a short video about how this community has been adopting Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. But the deeper we dug, the more we realized there was a bigger story to tell.
I think we constantly unlearn and relearn, right?
I had to unlearn the entire financial system.
That's great, but at some point we are going to create a new one on a new way, like on Bitcoin, hopefully. And we're gonna learn how to use it, how to relate with each other financially based on Bitcoin. This is still so new, so undefined. So we are learning, we are unlearning.
Been living in Costa Rica for over a year now. I decided to drive to Central America without a real end destination, and Costa Rica kept me here. Been here in the Bitcoin jungle for about 8 months, and everything kind of aligned. When people have been through similar journeys and have similar beliefs, core beliefs about some things, it's very easy to start a community and build from that. It's a great place to build. And luckily, Bitcoin covers so many aspects of our life that it's such a great base layer to build communities on. And it's all crazy to see how we each have a job in this ecosystem. My job is definitely education and just spreading the word, however that might be, telling stories.
I've been living here in the jungle for 6 years in Costa Rica, and before that I was living in Hong Kong. And and I, as well as Bitcoin Jungle, I created a school called Jungle Academy. And so what we're trying to do is like educate kids, like math, science. We teach the kids Bitcoin, things that are going to be meaningful for their life. The school was opened on the premise that we would accept Bitcoin. That's how Bitcoin Jungle started. I wanted to accept Bitcoin, but I didn't know how to do it. So I just put a call out on Twitter. And then I was able to connect with Lee, and then Lee was able to like manifest the wallet within like a weekend.
Project started at a local organic farmers market that was founded by Kena Aguilar and her mother Estela. We happened to know each other from around town, and when we had this idea to start Bitcoin Jungle, we were looking for the place to launch. And Kena is an amazing person and is always open for new things. We also had some trust between us. So we were able to use that web of trust to launch at a farmer's market with like 50 vendors.
¿Cómo empezaste el mercado?
Ese mercado, bueno, siendo agricultora, creyendo tanto en la vida, creyendo tanto en los alimentos, yo quería ayudar tanto a los productores. En el 2018 ya se abrió la feria y para siempre.
My name is Eleonora. My intention is to offer nutrition and delicious snacks. Peanut butter, almond, cashew butter, Costa Rica organic nuts, energy bars. I made wine, hibiscus and green tea, and organic coffee too.
And you can buy it all with Bitcoin.
Yeah. Wow. Really? Thank you, my friend.
Es orgánica y es de productores orgánicos y es un buen proyecto, creo que es el mejor de Costa Rica. Para mí es hacer, sembrar, coger, comer, ver qué me estoy comiendo. Eso es para mí la vida, lo lindo que es vivir así, ¿verdad?
Cuando los países están usando agroquímicos, todos esos agroquímicos son importados. Cuando existe la economía circular, no es necesario importar nada, porque todos los bioles, todos los fermentos, todo lo que se utiliza para crear los nutrientes de la tierra sale de la misma tierra, sale de la caca de las vacas, sale de las hojas, sale del bosque.
Bitcoin, bueno, hace muy poco de conocerlo, pero es una herramienta importantísima para hacer una transacción rápida, segura, y gano dinero también.
Sí.
Mi cuenta ha subido algunos centavos cuando la he tenido y
You know, here in Costa Rica, a huge chunk of the GDP, like double-digit % of the GDP, is based in tourism. All of that tourism revolves around credit cards, meaning every business has to pay 4% to take money from a foreigner. And so, yeah, we identified that was the problem that merchants face in Costa Rica. It's like, how can they get paid without a middleman and without fees from someone from anywhere in the world? And Bitcoin fits that use case perfectly.
Es una forma de recibir dinero fuera del sistema,
Sí.
sin intermediarios, directo.
Dinero directo.
I don't know why I do it. I lose money doing it. It's like every month my credit card bill gets bigger. In some ways, it's my way of giving back to Costa Rica, to the people of Costa Rica that have been so generous to all of us that live here.
I sell tons of different natural organic products. Every day I work with Bitcoin, yeah. Being an expat in Costa Rica, I don't live near an ATM. I don't live near a bank. I tap my phone with my friend and we make personal private sales without corporations.
As a local, it's just always amazing. Every week I'm just so excited. And the farmers market also has kind of like it's a social institution, right? It's not just a place where you go shopping. That's where you meet other people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're living in the jungle out here, what's the most important asset that you have? It's your connections, right? It's your community. It's people that you can rely on.
Yeah.
Shit happens, you know. Your car will break down. You'll have an emergency.
You get stuck in a ditch.
I get stuck in a ditch with my truck. I need some people to come help me.
Like, oh, this guy's got a bulldozer.
Yeah, exactly. I know some guy, you know. So the farmers market is where we go to exchange gossip, exchange news, exchange what we're working on. And that's where we build this kind of bond that's holding everybody together. Kind of like, you know, the modern equivalent of church.
No, that's ecstatic dance.
That is ecstatic dance. We also have the dance church, which you can pay for in Bitcoin.
Yes, you can.
As well. Yeah.
One of the coolest things about seeing this community grow using Bitcoin has been the variety of people involved. Even though Bitcoin is a modern technology, it seems to fit hand in hand with the desire everybody has here to reconnect to nature, to reconnect to the land.
In the eco-village network and permaculture projects, people coming here and they just want to live a different life.
Yeah.
They are fed up of the old system and the city life or the suburbia and all this stuff, and they just come on the land and they try something new. Yeah. So many of these projects that I felt I want to do something similar.
And I feel like the missing link between all those people, and that's what we found here in the Bitcoin jungle in Uvita, is Bitcoin. How does Bitcoin relate to that, you know, the energy that's here in Costa Rica?
Yeah, permaculture is very connected because it's about sovereignty. It's about, I have a direct connection with the land and the land gives it back to me directly, and I don't need to go through the government and external third parties to give me the food, to give me the water. And I think Bitcoiners value this directness in relation to money. Like money, I have direct connection with my money. Nobody is in between me and my money, and I can do what I want with it. And there is a bit of the same. It's sovereign. It empowers you into a sovereign being. Like you have a direct connection with the earth, with nature, with the power, divine power, however you call it, power of life. You are life itself.
It's about energy, right? Yin, yang. How do we combine tech, Eagle energy, Bitcoin, with wisdom, Condor energy, and create a new energy, Hummingbird energy? So the Bitcoin Jungle project, why Uvita? Because we're in this special place. We're in this place where the land is healing. The land is calling people in to basically help change people's lives, right? And then this narrative that we have with Bitcoin, with living an alternative lifestyle, with living in tune with the planet. When I came down here, became really apparent to me really quickly that there was this triangle of people congregating together, and these people were being called in. All of them I met had the same story. I just came to Costa Rica, and I don't know why, and I'm here to serve, right? I'm here to help. I'm here to help, but I don't know why I'm trying to help. You know, when I meet people here, you know, it feels like, yeah, I know why you're here.
Here in Costa Rica, you definitely feel like you're part of nature rather than separated from it. When you live in a city, you never look up, you don't look at the stars, but here, as soon as the lights go down, the stars come out. We live on 100 acres here on top of the mountains above Uvita. We have some horses, some chickens. I think the next thing we want is a cow. We get everything delivered that we need, and anything that we don't get, we can go to the market and pick it up. And the beauty is we can do all that with Bitcoin. It's absolutely amazing.
In Costa Rica, not everywhere accepts credit cards, and there's always fees on the credit card. You can go to the ATM, but the ATM in Costa Rica doesn't always have money in it. And sometimes if it does have money, it'll give you everything in tiny bills, and it'll only give you half of what you need. If you have Bitcoin, you can use the Bitcoin Jungle app. So, you know, you don't really need to have any fiat money here if you don't want to.
Basically, in a nutshell, Bitcoin is money. It's a hard-capped, finite supply of money that we can all share. So there's 21 million coins. There'll never be any more.
Bitcoin is a new monetary system that has no central bank, no single administrator, so it has no CEO behind it or someone calling the shots. It is fully decentralized and it operates all over the world. So instead of having central banks between different countries, and each bank and each currency per country issues its own money, Bitcoin is sort of an international currency where everybody in the world can use it, and not one government can shut it down because nobody controls it.
Our parents' generation were told, if you do this, you do that, you do the next thing, then you get this. And that worked for them. So when they had us as children, they taught us the same thing. Go to college, get a degree, get a good job, get this, and you'll get the house, you'll get the kids, you'll get that. Turns out that was a bunch of shit. That's a load of lies. That's not how it worked for us. It worked for them, but it's not working for us. I mean, my generation can't even afford a bloody house. Bitcoin is the millennials' revenge. It's millennial money. It's our chance to even the playing field a little bit. So I think people are just done with trying to do that because it's not working. So they're returning to their roots. Everybody wants to have a homestead. They want to return to nature. They want to be healthy. They want to be happy. They want, I don't know, it seems like a lot of people don't want kids, but the people we know that are in this community in Bitcoin, they want the kids. They want to see the next generation. They want to build dynasties. They want to do all these amazing things that humanity used to want to do. But it's kind of fallen by the wayside where nihilism kind of crept in and took the place of aspirations. So
So Bitcoin's very hopeful for the future. It's a very hopeful lens that you can look through life.
When I left California in 2021, I didn't really feel like I had much purpose in life, not much community. But ever since coming here, I've found friends, community, purpose, and really a mission to devote my life towards.
Y yo me quedé así como... Y empecé a analizar los sistemas bancarios, la corrupción, todo. Y dijimos, bueno, esto es una luz de esperanza también. Y siento que los sistemas siempre llegan a un momento donde están obsoletos. Sucediendo con el sistema bancario, ya está obsoleto. Ya no queremos pagar tantas fees por todo. Entonces, tienen que salir alternativas y de ahí es donde crece y nace Bitcoin Jungle.
Me gusta más hacer abono y mover la tierra y ver la mata creciendo y después yo coger y comer. Y, por ejemplo, ver las flores, ver las plantas que están, te hablan, las plantas te hablan. Claro. Y se siente y tú vives con ella y estás alegre, no hay nada que le llene la mente de otra cosa. Siempre estás contento, siempre estás feliz, siempre estás radiante.
Más que todo es una misión de vida. Ya encontramos nuestra misión. Y pues nosotros amamos esta tierra, nosotros venimos, somos una familia que protege, somos una comunidad que protege. Enamora, enamora, realmente enamora.
So we have the fracturing of the eagle of Condor. The idea is that for the last 500 years, since the time of Columbus, we've been in really over eagle energy. We can fix it, we can break it, we can destroy it, we can move it, we can push it, we can open it. All that is eagle energy. Any problem, we solve it with eagle energy.
A 1,000 years before Columbus came from Europe, these proud, priestly figures were the leaders of a great civilization, the Maya. When Europe was in the Dark Ages, these aboriginal Americans instituted a calendar more accurate than the one we use today. The Maya invented the concept of zero, developed a hieroglyphic writing system, and could calculate numbers into the millions. Maya astronomers could accurately predict eclipses and believed they could foretell the future.
There was a lot of talk in the 2012 about the end of the world, right? Remember that? When the world's going to end in 2012? But what they were talking about, if you looked at like different ends of calendars, and from the Condor and Eagle, they're talking about like an end of an era, the end of this, basically this eagle energy era, where we basically have just destroyed the world. All eagle energy, all just like take, possess, anger. So we're still really far away from it, but we have this like mind revolution going on of where people are suddenly thinking, hey, you know what? We can't just like take from the planet, because I grew up in the 80s and we could just do whatever we wanted. There was no consequence. We look at the idea of like carbon footprint, and we didn't even know what that was. Someone had come up to you then and said, hey, what's your carbon footprint? You'd be like, I don't know what that is. But what we had is this awakening of a consciousness that we do live on a finite planet. So you start to have this consciousness that started to happen around, maybe 10, 15 years ago, of people thinking, okay, how do I live on this planet? And that's the ascendancy of Condor energy. when it comes to the future, they'll look at us and be like, you guys were crazy.
The roar of rushing water was once just a sound, a waste of turbulent energy, until its challenge was transformed into a source of hydroelectric power. The American engineer is a leader who has blueprinted the skylines of modern progress to the highest standard of living in the history of the world. Cities structured of metals and stones and timbers and glass, of fibers and of plastics for homes and stores and factories. With derricks, with high-powered microscopes, torsion, balance, seismograph, even looking for minerals under the ocean floor. The research engineer is an explorer who advances civilization.
Busy and prosperous, free to make the most of the country's immense natural resources, with a growing economy based solidly on a sound dollar and on competitive enterprise. Out of the mountains and streams, the hills and plains and forests, we are producing power and raw materials in such abundance as the world has never seen.
We had this period of growth as a human species, of which the money system that we've known was a part. And so we grew and we grew and we grew and we took and we took and we took from the planet. And that has been our relationship to Mother Earth. We've had this sense of entitlement.
Plastic pollution at sea is up tenfold since 1980.
It's hard to believe, but an area the size of a football pitch is being cleared every single minute.
That oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico is growing.
Around 1 million species now face extinction.
More than 200,000 doctors are calling for urgent action to combat obesity.
In just 60 years, enough topsoil could erode that would make current farming unsustainable.
Japanese engineers marshaled all their remaining tools in the week-long struggle to prevent a full-blown nuclear disaster.
The most significant financial crisis in the post-war period.
So I think what's happening now is that humanity's entering into adulthood. And the crises that are converging together at our time, not just the financial or economic crisis, but an energy crisis, healthcare crisis, ecological crisis, soil, water, et cetera, et cetera. These are, in a way, they're the coming of age ordeal that one must pass through to enter a state of adulthood.
I think since the Enlightenment, the age of reason, we have elevated mind above all else. And we have said that the mind is more important than the heart. The heart emotions are not a valid means of cognition. Look at all the success of reason. Look at all the success of using our mind to figure out the laws of physics and everything else. And we have taken that so far as to think that the social sciences can be a science like physics, that we can control society if we understand the physics and mechanics of society enough and build machinery that lets us control it, right? It is if we have a central institution filled with smart enough people, and enough economists and enough Harvard PhDs, we can manage and manipulate the money supply in such a way as to balance unemployment and inflation at a perfect level, and everything will go wonderfully and smoothly. And fiat money is a perfect example of this attempt. Fiat money is the money that we all use, that's government-issued money. And the word fiat, it's a Latin word saying by decree. And it's basically the government saying, I decree this piece of paper to be worth $100, and I decree that piece of paper to only be worth $1, and I decree this one to be worth $5. You can take a look at it, right? Any two bills of different denomination are the same piece of paper. Why is one valued at 20 times or 100 times the other? It's because the government says it is. With fiat money, we have what's called a central bank, like the Federal Reserve is the central bank of the United States of America, and they decide how much money is printed. Broad strokes, economics will say what people will do given two choices. If something's cheaper, they'll buy more of it. If it's more expensive, they'll buy less of it. That's supply and demand in economics. But as economics tries to predict every single behavior of every single person, it falls apart. And I think we've been served a big slice of humble pie in that, right? Like, human beings are not like atoms or balls or rocks that behave according to specific laws of physics. They have free will. They're, at the very least, they're much, much more complicated, and there's no formula to predict their behavior. Back before fiat money, gold was money and silver was money. And the truth is, people have, throughout history, except for the most recent 70-year period, people didn't rely on government to tell them what money was. They came to a consensus largely around the fact that silver and gold were money because they were scarce and divisible and transmissible and verifiable and all of these different aspects, and durable, right? That it didn't rot. And so dollars were a promissory note to redeem these notes for gold in banking institutions. And one day, overnight, that was clear, that promise was broken.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
So a dollar is a piece of paper that the government prints, eventually that puts in a database, and now the whole nature of politics became about promising these dollars, which could now be produced without having to mine gold, without having to find it. And so our whole system became a system where people sought to get in power by promising money that they printed out of thin air to certain people to support their ideologies. And that's what's really broken with fiat. There's people who run it. That's why you get inflation. As the money supply rises, more dollars will buy less of the stuff that's produced. And if it's growing really rapidly, you have hyperinflation. And we're somewhere between having uncomfortable levels of inflation and hyperinflation. We're not anywhere near hyperinflation yet. Many countries in the world do experience it, and the bills become worthless, and you can see pictures of them piled in the streets of those countries because they buy so little, because they took so little effort to make.
The goal of Bitcoin is not just to provide a convenient payment method for foreigners that are coming down here. It's to end fiat.
Yes.
It's to eliminate fiat currencies entirely. It's to eliminate the banks entirely. The level of money that's being printed over the past, I don't know, since 2008, when you imagine yourself like 200 years in the future and you look back at this moment, you're going to say like, oh yeah, you know, the early 2000s when they started to print money like crazy, that was a cataclysmic event.
Yeah.
A funny anecdote that I once read is that a lot of the citizens of the Roman Empire were not aware that the Roman Empire had fallen until, you know, decades into the future. So arguably, right now, we are in the moment that historians will probably say, oh yeah, in 2023, the system had already failed. You know, the fiat system had already ended, more or less.
The failure of the previous generation was, the burden of that failure was put on us. But it's unfixable. The only thing they can keep doing is keep doing what they've done, which is print more, and then print more to pay for the money that they printed previously. And that's just stealing the wealth from us, their children. And then what, are we supposed to do the same and print more money and make our children pay for it? Like where does the buck stop?
Everything is synthetic. All the food is poison. The soil's dead. You know, like nothing's natural anymore. Nothing. Everybody knows better than nature, whereas we are all nature. And, you know, interestingly enough, we entered the age of Aquarius on December 21st, 2020. And You know, the Age of Aquarius is all about revolution and living peace and harmony, but it's really not comfortable, and people realizing, like, you know, they've been sold lies or they've been misguided.
If we're in an era where eagle energy, that impulse to control and to dominate nature, has fallen out of balance with the condor, well, fiat money has only poured gasoline onto the fire. And if money has been a powerful tool of the eagle in modern times, then in order to restore the balance, we're going to need a different kind of money. But to see how Bitcoin might help bring us back into harmony, we need to understand just how the fiat system has enabled the exploitation of the condor countries by the developed world.
Most people don't really know anything about the IMF. They're like, oh, three-letter, acronym, organization, like the UN, whatever. And maybe they assign it as like a neutral in their mind. And a lot of people have positive thoughts about the World Bank. They're like, oh, it like fights poverty in poor countries, right? For whatever reason, in the last couple decades, people have largely stopped thinking about the World Bank and IMF in a critical way. Like, the debate has faded from the discourse. Back in the 90s, there were huge protests. But I don't know, man, it's like they've faded from our public consciousness. So the bank and the fund were created to create international economic stability. Unfortunately, that is the opposite of what they've done. There are creditors who deposit funds at the bank. The main 5 creditors historically have been the United States, Japan, the United Kingdom, Germany, and France. So the former big empires, right? And then it will kind of disperse the funds as it sees progress in the country.
But what is progress?
Desde muy joven, yo me crecí con mis padres en una finca, con mi papá y mi mamá, los cuales eran muy emprendedores, eran personas muy sabias y muy luchadoras.
Y ahí viene la historia de
Entonces, Pindeco. Pindeco es una piñera que tiene millones de hectáreas de piña, a pura hormona y avión y todo, ¿verdad? Contaminado.
Now, originally, they were created to help rebuild Europe and Japan after World War II. That was like the original idea. After like the mid-50s, the bank and fund's energies were directed towards the developing world. Unfortunately, they were repurposed to extract resources and cheap labor from the developing world. It's important to start to trace out how the bank and fund actually engineer societies. These loans are given out with conditions upon conditions. This is called structural adjustment. So basically, the goal of structural adjustment is to change the society of a poor country to make it focus on exports at the expense of consumption.
Pindeco. Bueno, ellos empiezan a decir que, mire señora, le vamos a dar un carro, le vamos a dar una casa muy bonita, le vamos a pagar mucho dinero por mes. Y aparte de eso, usted se va a quedar aquí en la finca, solo firme. Y usted no tiene ni que trabajar, solo va a recibir el dinero.
¿A cambio de qué?
A cambio que firmara.
¿Que firmara qué?
Que firmara el documento de escritura para ellos.
¿Y qué era lo que querían hacer ellos?
Pues la piñera de Pindeco, imagínense. Y como pueden entender, yo mujer, con 6 hijos, pues pensaron que fácilmente me iban a quitar del camino. ¿Quién me iba a mí decir que sembrara? Yo sembraba y yo seguía sembrando.
The point of these programs was to make governments able to export more so they could get more hard currency so they could pay back the loans, which are dollar-denominated loans.
Even though this might not be structurally good for the country.
It's horrible for the country. This uses debt as a weapon. So instead of a gun, you're using debt.
Me han ofrecido mucho dinero, pero como yo no quiero dinero, yo quiero vivir, entonces no me pueden sacar. Tuvimos gran persecución, echaron compañeros a la cárcel, nos llevaban presos, nos destruían las agriculturas a nosotros. El Estado estaba en contra de nosotros, todas las instituciones del gobierno, incluyendo el Ministerio de Agricultura, estaban en contra de nosotros. Bueno, tuve 10 tentativas de homicidio. Tengo balas de lado a lado, tengo aquí, tengo 4 operaciones de patadas, de golpes. Ellos creyeron que me iban a matar y aquí estoy, gracias a Dios.
The bank and the fund allowed the former imperial powers to continue like this colonial dynamic of draining resources from poor countries to support them.
Swapping territorial colonialism with financial colonialism.
El Banco Nacional, que uno creía que tenía la seguridad, más de 1 millón de colones me robaron. Y el Banco Costa Rica tenía más de 6 millones en el Banco Costa Rica. Cuando yo voy a ver, no hay un 5. Robando y robando y nadie sabe nada. ¿Y cómo es posible que unos bancos que le roban todos los días a uno, porque le roban por la tarjeta, le roban si saca plata, le roban si mete plata, por todo le roban, y todavía no puedan darle ni una información de qué pasó con el dinero que es mío? Entonces, por eso estamos muy felices. Porque tenemos Bitcoin.
Bitcoin es tuyo.
Exacto.
If you have a world where we no longer on the fiat standard and we're in the Bitcoin standard, then the general operations of the World Bank and the IMF maybe become impossible to run, or they might just disappear entirely. You know, today, like if we want to give $30 billion to Brazil for some reason, like as long as the Congress approves of it, we send the money to these, these institutions and they disperse it. It doesn't come from anywhere, right? It's like, comes from some paperwork, right? But in a Bitcoin standard, it would be like, yeah, you and whose Bitcoins are going to send 30 billion, right? So if you don't have the dollar system anymore, if everybody's using something that no government can manipulate, it's this neutral currency, then I don't think they can nearly have the same power.
When European explorers first came over to the Americas, they relied heavily on military conquest to dominate the region. And even though nowadays we think of countries like Costa Rica as having independence from those colonial powers, there still exists an extractive dynamic. It's just that the tool of enforcing subordination has shifted away from violence to debt. Before Nixon ended the gold standard, the US government could only print new dollars if it had an equivalent amount of gold to back them up. When that ended in 1971, new dollars could be created out of thin air, effectively disconnecting money production from the limitations of physical reality, which made funding the IMF and World Bank's development projects much easier. And that's something we'll see about Bitcoin that's so different from the current monetary system. No one controls it, and no one can create it out of thin air, because real-world energy is required to produce more of it.
Condor represents indigenous people from the South. You know, it's more mellow, softer energy. There's a lot of heart, a lot of connection with the earth.
A mí me han robado por medio de tarjetas, entonces el Bitcoin es más seguro. Mundo les cuento que es muy interesante, que es el futuro. Para mí es el futuro. Entonces a todo el mundo les ando contando. Uno se topa de todo, pero la idea es que la gente vaya conociendo. Soy José Chinchilla y mi finca se llama Finca Agroecológica Papa Fernando, en honor a mis abuelos. Mi abuelo Quías, que le decíamos papá, y mi abuelo Fernando, que era el abuelo paterno. Nuestra finca principalmente produce huevos y la idea es llegar a tener los huevos más sanos y más orgánicos posible. Hace 2 años que llegó la gente de Bitcoin Jungle y desde eso lo aceptamos y ha sido interesante, muy interesante. Como está descentralizado, es una forma de que nuestro dinero no pierda tanto valor. Está sujeta a los cambios, está bien, pero es una forma que nuestro dinero no pierda tanto valor simplemente por políticas. Entonces es una forma interesante de ayudar a las personas y mejorar nuestra situación.
Entonces tenemos el caso de una vendedora que tuvo una estafa. Ahí alguien le mandó un mensaje que el número de telefónico era el mismo que el número telefónico del banco, diciéndole que stripara este link porque alguien estaba tratando de robar su password, y con el link accesaban a su cuenta bancaria 100%. Entonces no solo robaron el dinero de la cuenta bancaria, sino robaron el dinero de 3 cuentas bancarias, y eran sus ahorros de 2 años. Y nos dijo, gracias a Dios que tenía Bitcoin, porque en ese momento eran las graduaciones. En Costa Rica hay mes de diciembre al año donde todas las graduaciones de kindergarten, de elementary school, de high school pasan. Y es muy importante, y los papás tienen que comprar e invertir en los zapatos, en el traje, en todo. Y ella dijo, lo único que me salvó es que yo tenía todo mi dinero en Bitcoin Jungle. Y con ese dinero yo logré pagar todo lo de la graduación de mis hijos. No es solo ven a comprar con Bitcoin Jungle, no. También hay ayudas a un montón de proyectos que quieren salir adelante, que están también buscando el bienestar de la comunidad.
When you come to a country like Costa Rica, the people here mostly have like US dollar and Costa Rican colon bank accounts, right? They loosely follow the exchange rate. And so they already know that like the US, the dollar is dictating their economy, right? If dollars stop flowing into Costa Rica, the colon is worthless, completely worthless. It's completely dependent on the dollar. And even most average Costa Ricans understand this. They know this. And so my approach in Costa Rica is like using Bitcoin actually increases the sovereignty of Costa Rica as a whole. Like you as an individual, sure, of course, but also the country to help regain sovereignty from the United States. And I think a lot of Costa Ricans resonate with that.
Before Bitcoin, I studied business, and I didn't have my inner awakening at that time. And then I had this awakening, and then I realized the money system is totally co-opted by a ruling classes of elites that don't care about people. And I don't love to witness abuse. And I feel like that's what's going on a global scale. Like everyone is being abused. And it's sad, it's really sad. And yeah, I thought, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna change that? How are we going to free ourselves from that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited that in this lifetime we're witnessing this shift, where we are basically pulling the rug from below the feet of this class of people that are abusing others.
I think all of the institutions that were set up under Western liberal democracies are not working the way that they were expected to work, including and especially the money. Our systems were actually set up with these separation of powers to try to prevent corrupt individuals from exploiting their power. That was the lesson that history taught us. And this worked quite well for quite some time, but eventually it wore out. And other systems and mechanisms that were put in place broke down. And the worst one of all, the one that leads many people into Bitcoin, was that the money broke down. And why Bitcoin fixes it is because it takes the power to control it out of everyone's hands. Nobody has any power over it. It's a set of rules that have no rulers at all. Bitcoin is money that is created by work and time and energy. That's called Bitcoin mining. That's where all the new Bitcoins actually get issued. It's very difficult to do. It's very expensive to do. And anyone in the world can participate in doing this. This is an open source algorithm, and if you want to do it, go for it. Bitcoin is decentralized money. There isn't a central bank that issues Bitcoin and decides how much gets issued. There's an algorithm that says Bitcoin will get issued according to a certain issuance schedule. There will only ever be 21 million. And nobody can change that. That's the big break between Bitcoin and government-issued money. I can't print 1 million Bitcoin with no work into existence, but I can print $1 million into existence with no work. So it's money that adheres to physical laws of reality, and unfortunately the fiat money that we have doesn't, right? It can be printed instantly in unlimited amounts without any work. So Bitcoin has this beautiful balance of power, which is it doesn't give any power to any human being to change it. Everyone has to play by the rules. And the rules include prevention from theft, prevention from inflation, prevention from all sorts of immoral, corrupt acts. And so it's essentially a moral political system that is replacing the parts of Western liberal democracies that failed.
We've seen governments countless times use financial tools to restrict people's lives, restrict people's access to vital services, restrict people's access to crossing borders and traveling and moving around, education, family matters. And it's often done through financial restrictions, closing bank accounts, freezing PayPal, taking money, just straight up seizing money, blocking transactions. And Bitcoin solves all these things. So the way I look at Bitcoin is Bitcoin's freedom money, and it's part of this greater freedom technology movement that empower individuals, that allow individuals to make decisions over their own life without someone, 400 miles away dictating how they should live. Up until this point, there's been just lack of access in general. Billions of people haven't had access to good money. And even in developed countries, we have the privilege of having access to better money, but it's still shit. And it's still centrally controlled. You can still easily get censored. It's still getting debased over time and losing value over time. Bitcoin's the best money because it's not controlled by anybody. No company, no government, no one can stop you from spending it. No one can stop you from saving it. There's always going to be money. The question is the money going to be corrupt or is the money going to be honest? Is the money going to be fair or is the money going to be unjust?
The biggest threat to Bitcoin, I like to say, is human error. Responsibility means to me your ability to respond. And a lot of people don't like that. People don't like being responsible because it comes down to them. And I feel like that's a big reason why a lot of people haven't wanted to get involved with Bitcoin, because it's like learning a whole new thing, and it comes down to you, like human error. If you mess up, you're going to lose your Bitcoin. If you make an error with the address when you're sending it, you're going to send it to the wrong person and you can't call up tech support, you know?
I left Canada and I came to the jungle, and I was on my way somewhere else, and the jungle kept me here, and I met a bunch of Bitcoiners. In order to last in Bitcoin, you have to be built on certain qualities. You need to be accountable. How big is that for humanity, being able to hold your own keys? You have 100% accountability. People they're nervous. What if I lose my keys? What if I do this? What if I do that? Until we can take these steps consciously and be able to understand what that means about accountability, we don't deserve Bitcoin. We have this little opening right now where we're able to have something build trust and be a part of it, have it tested, have it build its immune system and grow, and that's where it gets its value from.
Money has been used for controlling others rather than serving as a tool that's a universal principle. Our existing financial system is built on abuse of power, like power over others, ruling others through having a power that is non-consensual. And Bitcoin restores that, because with Bitcoin everything is consensual. So I feel like Bitcoin is healing the relationship with something that's very grounded but essential for society, which is exchanges, like recognizing the value that we give each other and organizing on a bigger scale so that we can become a civilization and not just a bunch of hippies on a land. We need something grounded that's actually going to allow us to build a new civilization that's healthy and that's empowering us to shift, to flow into the next level. And I think Bitcoin is this missing link. It's grounded on this earth as energy, right? You need actual energy to make it alive, to create more of it. And that's the amazing thing. It's everything. It's matter, it's energy, it's code, it's belief, it's hope, it's optimism. It's like the whole spectrum is represented, embodied as Bitcoin.
Beginning in 1968, I started working in the Amazon, and since then I've lived with and worked with indigenous cultures all over this planet. Every one of them has a prophecy that we have now arrived at a time for the potential of tremendous transformation. And the one that I like the best is that of the Condor and the Eagle. And it basically says that back in the midst of history, human societies decided to go on two different paths. One was the path of the condor, which is really the path of the heart, of the intuition, of the feminine path, if you want to. And the other was the path of the eagle, which is the path of the mind, of the science, of the industrial, perhaps you could say even of the masculine. And they went their separate routes. But the prophecy goes on to say that we would arrive at a time with the potential for the two to come together, for the eagle and the condor to fly in one sky, to mate, to dance together, and to create a whole new level of consciousness. And so we're in that time now. The prophecies don't say that it will happen. They say that we are at this time of potential. And so it's up to us to make it happen.
Costa Rica is a very interesting magnet of a place because it's attracting these hippie characters who are all about living in alignment with nature, but then there's also this massive technology influence coming in, and they both connect seamlessly.
Richard has like the prophecy of the hummingbirds, the hummingbird people that will heal the fracture, the divide between the eagle people, and that Uvita, like the Bitcoin jungle area, is the land from which the hummingbird people will emerge and heal the fracture of the world. So obviously he thinks that's us.
Yeah.
It was prophesied that during what is known as the 8th Pachacuti is a 500-year period, which would begin in the 1490s, the Eagle peoples would become so powerful that they would practically drive the Condor people into extinction. And we know this happened. After Columbus, the industrial people, the people of science, practically drove the indigenous people into extinction.
During the Renaissance lived Christopher Columbus. Like many during the Renaissance, Columbus grew up with a strong curiosity about the world.
Is there land to the west?
1492. Isabella is now free to look outward towards the Atlantic.
A discovery of a new route to the east might help us match the prosperity of Portugal.
Spanish adventurers marched into new lands almost on the heels of the explorers. One motive was to Christianize the natives, but far more compelling was the drive for material gain. Courageous, but cruel and greedy, neither jungle nor native could hold them back. They soon earned the title conquistadors, Spanish for conquerors. In the year 1519, with an army of 600, Cortes reached the mainland and marched his troops overland. Spain's march of conquest took a tragic toll of death and destruction. In an area larger than Spain itself, ruthless slaughter destroyed one civilization to impose another.
There have been wounds of injustice, of oppression, of colonization, of greed, all those things which injure the human heart. And so this ancestral wound is this wound that's been carried on from generation to generation to generation. This intergenerational trauma.
Hemos visto gente venir y ir continuamente. Hemos escuchado todas las historias que usted pueda escuchar de una persona que quiere venir a desarrollar, pero siempre ponen a la comunidad primero. Y al final es una gran mentira.
Given the complicated history of American and European involvement in Costa Rica, for Lee and Richard and the crew to establish enough trust with the farmers market vendors so that they'd give Bitcoin a chance, they had to come together and unite around a common cause so that the locals could see that their intentions were pure. And in a roundabout way, back in the COVID era, that opportunity came around.
Obviamente la ecoferia tiene un peso en la comunidad. Entonces, si un proyecto entra por medio de la ecoferia, porque somos muchos, somos más de 70 vendedores, la gente va a empezar a saber que hay algo más que solo un extranjero que viene a hacer una propuesta, que ya hubo una confianza que se traspasó y que se aceptó. Entonces, ya yo confiaba en Lee porque él nos había apoyado de otras formas también.
After the pandemic and the gross overreach of the government, it became clear to me, at least, that Canada just wasn't the place that I wanted to start my family. And it was a hard decision, but it was a decision we had to make. We just decided to leave Canada, sell our business, give up everything we had.
Nosotros empezamos con una lucha social durante el COVID. Como sabemos, y es muy claro, muchas personas se separaron caminos. Unos creían en unas cosas, nosotros creíamos en la libertad de cada ser humano de decisión. Ante todo, ese era el valor más importante.
Hemos tenido esta bendición de que viniera esta empresa por las manifestaciones que hicimos en contra de la vacuna y que no queríamos vacunarle y las amenazas y todo, fue que empezamos a conocer la gente que verdaderamente es con el pensamiento de nosotros, y así fue como hicimos esa red de amigos y extranjeros.
No queríamos dividir a nadie porque decidiera una cosa u otra, pero también se sabía que había una presencia muy grande, por otro lado, de una fuerza muy fuerte por la que todos teníamos que luchar para defender nuestros derechos, y por ahí empieza a arrimarse la gente que funda Bitcoin Jungle, pero ellos no llegan a nosotros como Bitcoin Jungle, ellos llegan a nosotros a apoyarnos en nuestra lucha y a integrarse de formas diferentes para decirnos, nosotros también estamos con ustedes. Hay un dicho que dice, Dios los hace y ellos se juntan. Y es perfecto para esta situación específica.
We have a lot of people coming and like relating to the land, relating to themselves, and then being able to go out into the world and basically keep that wisdom energy, Condor energy, introduce that to people. These energies that can help change the human condition. They weren't waiting for a hippie revolution. What they were waiting for were people who could somehow help communicate wisdom on a global sense. And how did we do that? Through, just like you said, through the internet. So then you get Bitcoin. All of us living here, we feel like we're part of something pretty special. Like we're just a small example of what might be possible on a global scale.
The people who come here and end up staying here, they tend to have like an adventurous heart, be self-reliant. There's also a sense that you want to curate the land and take care of the land and take care of the community.
It gives us so much.
Yeah, and to be in harmony with nature, to be in harmony with your own body, with your soul, and just to live. It's just the energy, man. A lot of people get a sense of having a calling, like to come to Costa Rica, like something is drawing them here.
If we want to explore our heart and the potential of our heart, we need our heart to open to something greater, to serve a greater cause, something you believe in. Anything can make us feel connected. There are monks that go alone in the forest and they feel so connected to everything just by being alone in nature. That's the reflections, that's the medium. And what it is that it opens to is actually secondary. What matters is your heart. It's gonna be beautiful because your heart is opening.
Y empezamos a crear una serie de eventos informativos donde asistían abogados, ingenieros, científicos, doctores, y llegaban a un lugar y hacíamos charlas públicas. Y entonces ahí se empiezan a arrimar nuestros aliados, ahí se empieza a arrimar un montón de personas que huyeron de sus países por la misma situación. Y eran muchos, no era una persona, no eran dos, sino que eran varios. Entonces por ahí se arrima Lee, se arriman Govinda, se arrima varias personas, y de repente todas están hablando de Bitcoin y me están diciendo que también eso es parte de... Y yo, wait, yo tengo que unir a estas personas, esa es la parte más importante. Usted hace manifestaciones informativas para defender a la comunidad. Así me lo dijeron, nunca se me olvida. Esta es la forma como nosotros hacemos nuestra manifestación. Es diferente, pero el resultado es el mismo. Entonces los empiezo a conectar. Uvita, te voy a presentar a Lili, te voy a presentar al otro y al otro y al otro, y de un pronto a otro ya ellos estaban haciendo magia.
Gracias. Te pago. Voy a pagar el Bitcoin. Listo.
A guy like Lee at Bitcoin Jungle has the technical expertise and Bitcoin knowledge and trust of the community to do this job. That's a very rare combination of skill sets, right? So that also kind of like adds to the like magic of Bitcoin Jungle. It's like the people that are involved just so happen to be competent, trustworthy, and knowledgeable. So maybe that's why this phenomenon has emerged in other places. But maybe not as glaringly as here. And it might have to do with the fact that it requires this very specific and rare set of individuals to make it work.
Yeah, true.
Lo que sí quiero decirles es que estamos haciendo algo que es para bendición de este país.
Pura vida, pura vida. Pura vida, puro Bitcoin.
It really is about just like the human species realizing that, oh, we actually really need Eagle energy and we really need Condor energy. We really need wisdom and we really need like the ability to kind of create and manufacture and stuff like this. And then if we can put those together, well, then we can create a new world. And that is the world that the hummingbirds will inhabit, which is like our role to tell people this. That's the job of Bitcoin Jungle, right? This isn't a crypto project. This isn't a get-rich project, but an idea of like connecting through Bitcoin, connecting to the universe, connecting to yourself, connecting to the land, and then connected in a pure way through Bitcoin.
Still today, we're still using the dollar or the colones as a reference unit of account in order to establish, how much my goods and services are worth. The next step that I would like to see is just people pricing stuff in Bitcoin. I think we're not there yet, but that's where we need to go.
At the current state of consciousness of humans, they are not ready for just giving to each other. We need to heal humans first. And to heal humans, we need to connect them to the sense of fairness and accountability, transparency, and to show them this is real. And Bitcoin represents, anchors that. And then they will feel it, and it will become so obvious, like in 2 generations, everyone will know that it's fair, it's transparent, it's balanced, and there is not even a question. And then all the ancestral wounds and programmings in our DNA will get flushed out, and we will be in a different state. That's even a bigger thing than Bitcoin. That's civilizational shift to conscious civilization.
We've had to go through these hundreds of years of ascendancy in order to get to a point where we were receptive enough to be able to use it, right? We had the infrastructure. So, they couldn't have introduced this kind of system 100 years ago, 200 years ago, because we just didn't have the technology, and that's the thing. It's literally is this kind of like this meeting of the two. It's the meeting of the wisdom, the meeting of the tech, and that's where we're at this point, right? Imagine it's like, and then hummingbirds shooting out.